who knows about C9? They're all over the place. They did a lot of roster changes over the offseason. My ex-teammate Net, he got an opportunity on C9, so I'm happy for him. Unfortunately, we have to play each other, so I'm sorry, Mike, but I'm gonna have to put you down.
I like to play against One Leaf. The last time we played G2 was in Berlin, and we beat them. But obviously a new roster now, so I'm excited to play One Leaf again, and something that it matters in.
Oh my gosh, Seppa with 3!
They're a good team. They have a lot of X-Factor potential, bringing in Net, bringing in Oxy, Vic. All those players could take over a game. There's no discounting C9 at all. They could upset any team in VCT just because of that X-Factor.
Welcome back, everyone, to VCT Americas Kickoff and our final match of this opening week. It's G2 Esports taking on Cloud9. Of course, I'm Golden Boy here. You got Ender and Mimi as we're going to break it all down. And oh boy, we're about to see G2 take the stage. I'm so excited for this squad. They've made some massive changes, and let's go ahead and talk about this because G2 came into this lineup, came into 2024 as our Ascension squad, right? And now they're gonna have to fight for that position still, right? Because that's how it works. They need to hold on and make it to champs, otherwise they're gonna be in the gulag.
Look, it's a tough spot to be in for sure, but this team could not be better suited for the task at hand. You look at their run last year, what they were able to do after that disappointing kickoff, running through the rest of the regular year, performing very nicely at Champions, and now with the addition of Jogmo, this team is going to be a behemoth this year.
Absolutely. You have one of the best cores of 2024, not just Americas, all of the world in VCT. And now you're adding in an incredibly clear one-for-one upgrade, breaking Jogmo out of EG and bringing him over to G2.
Yeah, probably the sickest jailbreak
it
in
really
VCT
was.
history.
It was awesome. It was a great video. But just the idea, as you guys were saying, that Leaf and Jogmo are going to be on the same team together.
It's crazy.
It's insane. And also, like, Jogmo's also going to be getting calls from Valyn, which is like equally as insane.
It's so imbalanced. Like, just straight up, this is one of the most hyped rosters I think I have ever seen. I'm so excited to see this team play because, look, I think what G2 was able to do last year, and remember, it was a bit of a rocky start, right, with Net leaving the team after a kickoff. Then they bring in a rookie Icy that had never seen the stage. I think G2 performed at such an incredible level with a rookie duelist. What they're going to be able to do with a proven top-tier talent, not just in Americas, but in the world with Jaw, is going to have to be incredible.
It's an Ascension roster, but on paper, they look to be the best team in Americas. It's just insane. And you were mentioning a lot about having Jog added into this roster. I think it's going to be really interesting to watch how he differs as a player to Icy. Icy was known as being like super passive. They were constantly talking about like he's a system duelist, he's a system duelist. But Jogmo is not that in the slightest. Obviously, he's a team player, but Jaw's the guy who's going to deliver you highlight plays, who's going to be hyper aggressive when he needs to, and who's going to come out here and get to play in a meta where I think Raze is going to be super prolific.
Yes.
And for my money, he's the best Raze in the league.
Look, Jaw has the best movement in the game. I think when it comes to using those satchels, especially, his entry pathing has always been excellent. And now with a team that has been so details-oriented, like this core has been together for so long, they know exactly how they want their hits to work. You insert a guy that's got the moves like Jaw, you're going to be looking at some of the best execs, I think.
And what I personally want to see from the team is kind of what we were seeing last year with EG when Potter was talking about, just putting the faith in the Jogmo. And it did lead some success, maybe not so much success as they would have liked, but, they did have some moments. I would just like to see G2 be a bit more freewheeling with Jogmo on the lineup because you have that flexibility because, he goes crazy.
I do think to quickly touch on last year, it is important to temper this a bit and say Jogmo did not have a crazy 2024, especially at the start of the year. There was a lot of talk because him and the rest of EG came out much quieter. And I think towards the end of the year, we saw a little bit more of what we expected. But I am thinking that on this new roster, it will be the Jaw Bowl.
I'm a simple person. All I remember is that Bucky clip, and I'm excited for Jaw.
She's a simple person indeed. All right, well, let's go ahead and send it over to Coach Josh RT, who's standing by with Rip.
I'm with Josh RT before the game versus Cloud9 today. My question for you is, 2024 to 25, the big Jogmo transition for the team. Does this really change the dynamic of the team overall? And I think we know the answer, but why Jog?
I think internally with the players, team chemistry is still the same. Like, he slotted in perfectly. But as far as like the actual gameplay, the dynamics definitely shifted. I think the current meta definitely helps him, and we're able to just like go on his pace, and we also taught him like how to play the solar pace that we're known for. So I think this year will be a lot more dynamic, and a lot more switch ups.
Josh, thanks for the insight. Best of luck in the game.
G2's gonna beat the boring allegations this year. They're doing it. They're gonna let him have a little freedom. Some slow, some boring.
Yeah.
Some exciting judgment play.
I like boring because I think that like what you get with Valyn's calling is just like really high percentage Valorant, where they're not always taking big risks. Although I do think that maybe there's a little bit more opportunity to do that.
Oh, without a doubt. But the addition of the Jogfather to this squad really gave G2 something that they could not refuse by having him on this team, because he brings so much. You even heard Josh RT talk about it in that interview with Rib briefly about the attitude, the demeanor. He fits in with these guys because if you've ever had an opportunity to talk to Jogamo, he's like the chillest dude. He's really calm.
That's so real.
No, he really is. I've had a lot of conversation with the guy. He's just a real chill guy, real low key, and that fits the vibe quite well for G2, because those players are also like that. They're quite sociable, and I think that Jogamo being on that team is really going to help the squad like not only just come out of their shells, professionally, but also, like personally too.
Sure, yeah. I mean, he's not like the ego duelist where everything's about him.
Not at
Like,
all.
I totally believe Josh RT when he's saying that this guy will slot into the team culture really nicely.
He's also a guy who clearly believes in systems. I mean, you heard him last year with EG. He was really committed to what Potter wanted, her vision of the game, playing into that. We're building up that he's going to be this exciting player. He's going to be willing to take risks, and we'll see some of that. But I think Jaw is the ultimate star duelist to fit into a system, be able to play that slow reserve style, but take those risks, be that guy when he needs to. And for that reason, I think he's a perfect fit with the rest of this G2 team.
Yeah, no, for sure. But let's also talk about another player on this roster, Cloud9's Net, which actually was on the G2 roster just last year and then was released. And that was a heartbreaker because Net had been with this team. This core, the guard core, had been together for so long at that point. So to see Net removed from the team, that was quite startling.
Well, truthfully, last year's kickoff really reshaped Net's career, right? Because remember that day of playoff games, they lost to MIBR, and then against Sentinels, they're knocked out after just losing the one map. If they're able to win there, first of all, Sentinels run doesn't exist. G2 might be in that position. Net might still be playing with G2.
Wild.
But that poor performance on that day led to this cascading effect where now he's on the other side after going down and playing with M80 and failing to qual himself. Now he is up with C9 trying to beat the same G2.
Yeah, and him failing to qual last year meant that he was in back-to-back Ascension finals, and neither year got to play out in Americas for the entire time, which is crazy. But now, thanks to C9's offseason, where they made a lot of changes, he was that last-minute addition, subbing in and replacing out Moose on this team. And now, I think in a very poetic way, has a chance to almost immediately play against his former team and try and prove himself again on this Americas stage.
And you get that opportunity to play against your former team, but you're also going into that one with a big, big win, because Net managed to pick up a massive dub when we saw him take that stage last in front of his whole family. They were all cheering him on, and that has to be such a motivating factor for not just Net, but for the entirety of Cloud9, a team coming into the year that people were really low on for good reason. Lots of drama, lots of wonkiness, excuse me.
Sure.
But here they are.
The roster shuffle.
The roster shuffle, but they make their way to the stage against all odds. And they don't just win, they look good while doing it.
Absolutely. You know what? If the debut was good, taking down a G2 that said bye-bye 365 days ago, it's got to feel even better.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. But for now, though, let's actually send it over to Rib, who's got some quick words, emphasis on the quick, with Net.
I am here with Net before their matchup. I got to ask, playing against your old team here, any hard feelings going in, a chip on your shoulders? You want to take them down?
Definitely a big chip on my shoulder. I'm looking to take them down.
That's it. Quick, short, sweet. Good luck in the game.
That's it. He just wants to take him out, plain and simple. Now, with all the roster moves in the offseason, there was a lot of skepticism around Cloud9. But as we talked about before, they showed up and won in 2-0 fashion against an NRG team, Mimi, that everyone believed was at the top of the world.
This is really a poetic game for C9 to start their year. First of all, showing us an incredible implementation of the Taeho on Fracture. I love especially the way they were using that to bully arcade control from NRG almost every round in that default, leveraging that into some really nicely called mid-rounds from Mitch. And on top of that, Christy, Zeppa was like one with God in this game. He was outrageous.
Literally, out straight up. I mean, he's playing one of the Taeho maps, then he's playing the Clove over on Fracture, just looking absolutely insane on that. It's funny, you look at that series, which was a 2-0 for C9. Everyone in his team across the two maps, negative. Him, extremely positive. Dude was absolutely flying.
And he was getting so much flack, as we were talking about in that game going up against NRG, because, you know, a lot of people were like, why is Zeppa here? Blah, blah, blah.
But they're out of their freaking minds.
Clearly they are, man, because this is... I know that Zeppa in the past had been inconsistent, but it's also, you got to look at the whole picture, right? It's not just one individual, it's a team game.
Yeah, not only were they beating up on the Zeppa's a fraud narratives, but they were also beating up on the we need Oxy to carry Cloud9 narratives, because he didn't have a super good game by any means.
You can't have your cake and eat it too in that instance. You got to have a team environment.
They won with team play, with I think better decisions coming into this new meta, a better implementation of Taeho, and just a better game plan across the board.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it really was. And then, you know, and we can continue that conversation with Zeppa here. He had so many highlight moments. And I think that if he's able to pull that off here today, guys, that would be a massive, massive win for them. Not just obviously because they get the dub, but also because Zeppa gets to continue to prove to everyone that he belongs in that roster.
Map 2, it was the Taeho for him, but Map 1, that Clove was really excellent. I think people forget about Zeppa's history. He was not always the super supportive initiator player. When he was playing against the Guard, which is now G2, way back when he was back on C9 still then, he was the Raze player, he was the primary duelist, he was swapping around with Leaf for that role, and he was an outstanding individual, and he showed that kind of gameplay on the Clove.
Yes, and I'm so glad you're like talking about like him and Leaf playing together, because we put so much time saying, oh, it's Net versus former teammates, right? But also Zeppa playing against Leaf on the other side of the stage. We've seen it before, but it's just so many fun matchups between these two teams ever since the Guard came back after playing in Challengers NA and to now become G2. I feel like watching these two teams match up is always such a sick duel.
And that runs deep as well. It's not just that they were playing on C9. Zeppa and Leaf go way back. They were competing towards the end of Counter-Strike together. Those guys are really good friends, former teammates that are going to be super cool to see them face off again too.
Oh yeah, it's always nice to see those baked-in stories. Former teammates, now rivals. But here's the thing. According to Zeppa, that win over NRG, that wasn't a fluke. Don't get it twisted. This isn't even Cloud9's final form. Let's check this out.
I think like our environment is really good, and I think everybody we picked up is like, you know, they obviously can contribute in fragging and like speaking up and having a voice and everything. This week it was me fragging. I'm sure next week you see Oxy. Other week Vic, Net, and Mitch with the consistent calls. I would say that you can see this kind of performance and probably better. You know, like we obviously didn't like believe we played our best, but we played enough to squeak out the win against NRG. But I'd say we'll be better in the near future for sure.
Real quick, I do want to let everyone know on stage, in the arena and also watching at home, that on stage right now there's a little bit of a tech issue and we're getting that sorted. And once that's sorted, we'll be jumping over there. For the time being, though, stick around with us and we'll continue the conversation. But I know there were some things you wanted to talk about there from what Zeppa was saying.
Yeah, something that I think is really cool, not specific about Zeppa, but about the history between these two teams, is the last time G2 played. They didn't play a ton in the offseason, but they did play Red Bull Homeground in Berlin. They were up against C9. They lost that game, but that was off of Rossi going plus 22, absolutely harvesting in the match, which is why people
I can't wait to see Rossi own today.
Yeah, well, that's kind of why people were so mad when Cloud9 dropped him. But now, this is like the ultimate proof. If C9 can beat them again with the new roster, showing why they made that change and why Imi made the right choices.
I would even personally be okay if it was just like a 3-map close one. You know what I mean? If you hold an L, but it's off of a really tough, close game, that also is like proof like, hey, you know, maybe we did make the right decision here. But I know for a fact, C9, they want to be able to get this win. How big would it be? This is a team that everyone's talking about supposed to win the whole damn thing, right?
Yeah, we've taken the last 10 minutes to just talk about how excited we are for G2. And it was the same for NRG. They've already taken down one Titan. I remember our power rankings, G2 1,
NRG second or third or something like that.
Don't ask where we were going to put C9.
Woof. All right. Well, of course, though, continuing the conversation, let's talk about Valyn.
Let's hype G2 even more.
I mean, let's just hype him up even more, baby. But yeah, this is, of course, the guy who's, a double award winner, right? IGL and Controller of the Year here in Americas. The dude not just frags, he calls like a god. This dude is unreal.
I would go as far as say most valuable player, just bar none, in Americas over the course of last year. From what he's doing IGLing to just his raw skill in the server too. Like
also the brand ambassador.
This guy is top fragging more than half the maps G2 is playing. He's super clutch in the late rounds, and his calling style is just G2's overall team style, and it's worked so well for them to propel them from Ascension all the way to, top 8 champs.
You know what's crazy? I last night was taking a trip down memory lane, and I was watching a 2 or 3 year old VOD of the guard against Optic on Fracture, which is why I was talking about former teammates up against each other.
What event was that?
Challengers. It was the qualifier to.
Was that when we were in Lotus?
No, it was before that. Qualified to Reykjavik online tournament.
Wow.
But I was watching the desk, and you were making the same points about Valyn
Was I
3
saying the
years
same
ago about how good he is,
We have
how
fun
great
footage.
individually. He's such a good young IGL. Still true now, 3 years on.
Next time G2
I
plays.
didn't say he was a young IGL. I just said he was good IGL.
Well, you did then, because he was 3 years old.
Next time
Right,
G2 plays, we got to find the video and put it back to back.
But
That would be amazing.
It's crazy. I genuinely don't think my opinion on Valyn has changed. I think this guy has been really at the top of this game for literal years now.
Yeah, and there hasn't really been much of a reason to change that opinion, considering the success that he has had, especially what we saw last year as well. Now, ahead of kickoff, we spoke with Valyn about why Jogamo brings so much to this G2 roster. Check it out.
We kept the same core as last year, keeping all 4 players except our duelist role, and that's where Jogamo feels like he slotted in perfectly. He kind of brings in that X factor, that fearlessness, that almost ignorance in the server, that he doesn't care about what you're doing. He's going to focus on us, and he's going to make sure he's getting his job done. And so when we play in these high pressure matches, when we play when, championships are on the line, I'm always looking at him to kind of get us going. And so that's how I feel about this team. That's how I feel about his contribution into this roster. So I'm excited, and I feel like once we get that opportunity, like last year where we were back-to-back domestic grand finals, we were top 3 in Shanghai and playoffs and playoffs and champions, but now I feel confident we have that key player to push us to lift that trophy.
That has been the thing that they have missed for a while, that impact player that can go in there and cause carnage. Jogamo's that guy.
Absolutely. Chrissy, question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think 2022, if they had Jogamo on the team at Champions, would the outcome have changed?
In 2022?
Oh, sorry, 2024. What
In
year would it have
2024,
been?
yes. 2024, if they have Jogamo, they win champions. This year, I think they're winning champions. Next year, same 5 players, they're winning champions.
Yeah, because you did predict 20.
I can't predict further than that, because who knows how many agents will be in Valor.
That's true, that's true.
I'm a good friend. Let me help you out here for a second. Last year, they bombed in kickoff, and they still went on the run they did.
Yeah.
All good.
Okay.
It's just kickoff, guys.
But why are you bringing it up, though?
I'm just covering.
Wait, are you saying
bases.
G2 are gonna bomb me?
Are you putting the bad vibe?
I'm not saying they're gonna bomb. I'm saying they bombed last year.
They're
going to
revoke your sunglasses.
My sunglasses? I don't wear sunglasses.
Come on.
Mimi, do you hate
Zip,
Jogamo?
zap, zop.
No, I love Jogamo. He's a great player.
Then why are you saying he's gonna bomb?
One of my favorite players. I was trying to help you.
All right, well, while Mimi tries to help her friend and failed just spectacularly, let's go ahead and hear from G2's 2025 lineup. Let's meet the team.
What's up, guys? This is Valyn, and this is my team, G2. First up, we got the Professor. When he's in the server, class is always in session. It's Jonah P. Next, we got my right-hand man, the second smartest person in the server, besides me, it's Trent. Next, my Sentinel, who's better than your star player, the Mastermind, Leaf. And how could we forget the world champion, my fearless entry? I call him the can opener, the way he opens up these sites. He's got that dog on him, it's Jogamo.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to VCT Americas. We're getting ready for our matchup, G2 Esports going up against Cloud9. We do want to let y'all know who are watching at home as well as in the venue. A little bit of a tech delay, as you can probably imagine, so we're going to be getting that resolved. Once that is resolved, we'll be jumping straight to the game, so you don't have to worry. But for now, hang out with us, right? You know?
Yeah.
We like you. We want you to
come on over.
Come on, water's warm.
We got room on the desk.
We got cookies, you know?
No, we don't.
Mimi don't know how to bake, but she tried.
I do know how to
I've actually got chat right here.
I know, you were so
I'm
mad
hanging
at
out
me.
with everybody.
You were so mad at me when I said that.
I don't bake often, but I do know. It's very simple. You just have to follow instructions.
All right, best dish you can bake right now. Go.
Best dish I can.
Best thing you can bake.
Like I could. Or
Yogurt
I
bowl.
have.
Sick.
I made a focaccia shaped as a frog once.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna frog shit. Now I look like ultimate frog fan, but
Oh, Willie Street Co-op.
shill.
You silly goose.
in frog shill.
Now, before we do anything, though, we were talking a lot about G2, but I do kind of want to revisit the conversation just a little bit with Cloud9 here while we have a bit of time, just because, you know, as we were talking about the new additions that they had made, people that they brought in, but one individual in particular, we had talked about him, but I want to revisit Mitch, simply because it's wild that this guy was competing for C9 2020, like years ago.
Yeah, literally.
And like it comes full circle and is right back here.
Let me give some context. I was watching those VODs last night. I was just looking back at like super old stuff.
Why?
And because it's fun. It's fun
You're
too.
just
It's
a
cool.
VOD
So
goblin, and I
they were
appreciate
playing on Bind. He was playing Sage. He was offing almost every round on Sage. The box, in short, was still tall. There was like no
Dude, that
good
box was tall.
Yeah, there was like the observer client was incredibly jank, but he was kind of feasting with the op on Sage.
So you think he's going to be opping on stage today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 years on, for real.
That's why you watch
Take
those
away.
VODs, to find out.
Oh yeah, Phoenix mirror match on Bind. Sage, also Phoenix Jet, one of the most amazing comps. People just found out that having 7-second cloudburst was good.
Dude, this game used to be crazy.
That was so busted.
When people learn that they could just grab the snipe, shoot, and then immediately get away with it.
People thought Jet was bad on release too.
Yeah, it's wild, wild stuff. Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and have some more fun and chat more about Mitch and see what he has to say as he dives into this new Cloud9 roster and how he fits with it.
Mitch of now is more leadership, more of like a dad figure on the team, I think. We got a bunch of Zoomers running around, so I gotta, you know, whip them into shape in the server and also, you know, give them advice, you know, out of the server when they need it, and kind of just, you know, the chill guy, I guess, of the team.
Yeah, as a millennial who has to whip up a couple Zoomers, I know exactly what you're talking about there, Mitch. Here are your predictions, and across the board, we all went with G2. No one believes in Cloud9.
One of the most consistent teams of 2024 with a clear upgrade to Jojimo. They should absolutely win this match, but we also thought NRG was certainly going to win the match against C9 last time.
Hey, C9 2-0 G2 the last time they faced off, so...
I will say, though, it is certainly interesting how even with C9's success, none of us believed in them at all.
Come on, this G2 roster should be
I know,
gas.
but that's still crazy. They beat the team that's supposed to be number 2.
Okay, but real talk, if Zeppa is shooting like the other day and
Yeah.
Oxy is back on form, this could actually be really competitive.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I'm most excited for, right? Can Cloud9 keep up the form, and can G2 respond in kind? Because this matchup is going to be awesome no matter how you break it down. You got G2 going up against Cloud9. So let's go ahead and bring out those teams and get this game underway.
Riot Games Arena, it's time for the final match of Kickoff Week 1. So let's get right into it and bring out your first team. Make some noise for Cloud9!
And you're hearing Lock In. Cloud9's music content creator Kala created this original walkout song for the team. Congratulations to Kala. Awesome achievement, and we look forward to hearing it all throughout the season.
I'm getting with it.
I'm with it, dude. It's got some anime intro vibes to it. I'm vibe with it. It's pretty dope. I've been watching Way of the House Husband. So it's
Picking up a thing or two?
Picking up a thing or two, you know. Oh, man. But yeah, this Cloud9 team have an opportunity here to really shock everyone and get a win against the team that is considered to be the world beaters of Americas. That would be huge.
Certainly would. They beat them in the offseason, a different roster then. They've made some changes since, but already a super impressive debut for Cloud9.
Let's go ahead now and bring out their opponent.
Now, let's bring out their opponents, making their America stage debut in 2025. Make some noise for G2 Esports!
And G2 is back with a new walkout song of their own, and this one I'm particularly hyped to talk about. This is Golden Era featuring Isaac App, good friend of mine from Rocket League, aka Turtle. Shout out to you, buddy. But yeah, G2 back with Isaac. Another walkout. We'll be hearing that all year long. Is it by the bundle, though?
That's what I'm waiting for. Okay, a little chill.
I dig it. It's a different vibe, right? Cloud9 had the anime intro, and G2 came out here with the mixtape. You know?
No cha-ching SFX, no buy the bundle yet. I'm liking it more than last year.
That's what you listen to the analyst desk for, folks. Some good old-fashioned musical breakdowns.
We're analyzing the music.
Basically the Fantanos of Valorant. In case though, get ready for this map select. See where we're going to be going here, as these teams are going to be making their choices where the battlegrounds are going to be located. I'm excited to see if we get, we're going to get some Raise Masters.
Yeah,
you have Joggamon.
We've got to see it. I mean, look, when we saw C9 play before, we saw the Fracture and we saw the Lotus, right? We saw some Clove, we saw a couple Tejo maps. C9 have definitely been putting in the work this offseason.
I'm feeling like we might get some kind of Tejo mirror match here. We saw that debuted from Cloud9. Both maps their first series, and I think Raise maps tend to be really good for Breach Tejo as well.
Yeah, I mean, Lotus, Split, definitely good on that one. We've seen some Tejo on Abyss as well. Like, even over in EMEA, we have seen, like, Tejo and Breach. There was a lot of crazy stuff getting locked in. But honestly, it is worth saying G2 have usually played a more controlled style of game.
Sure.
Think to their old Abyss comp that they were running initially, where it was Double Smokes, the Viper, and Astra, the Killjoy as well. So I would be more surprised to see G2 playing the Tejo, playing double initiator style, because they've historically leaned into a more controlled game plan.
My fear was just seeing like basic stuff, but and there you go. From Cloud9, you're getting, that Tejo deadlock. We did see them use this before.
I really like it.
Yeah, with Tejo now coming into the meta and the Cypher nerfs, I think Deadlock and Vice are so good right now. Deadlock in particular, super strong on this map. Those post plants are potent with
Yep, and the crouch nade combos with Tejo. I think ever since the nerfs to the pings, hold on.
Boy,
We got a little Tejo, we got a Yoru for Jog. Wait, this is kind of sick.
Oh, people have been talking about Yoru being an absolute tank of an agent.
Yeah, no Sentinel, though. They're going to be very mindful about when those lurk timings can come in.
All right, folks, this is it. Final match of the week. Riot Games Arena, why don't you do me a favor? Make some noise as we send it over to your casters. It's Uber and Wyatt on the mic.
Thank you very much, Golden Boy. It's great to be back here in the Riot Games Arena for our last match of week one of our 2025 kickoff, and it features two teams who couldn't have approached the offseason differently.
Absolutely. We have G2 coming in here off of a fantastic 2024. They were the team that ascended into the league, and as the league progressed, got better and better, qualifying for multiple international events, making it to the playoffs, deep runs in both. But they dropped Icy, the duelist they brought in last year, to add world champion Jojimo. Everyone is looking at this as a straight-up upgrade. He's one of the best duelists in the game, has been. The firepower from that man is unreal. He's on the Yoru here on Lotus, an unorthodox pick. I'm excited to see what he can do.
It's going to be Cloud9 starting on the offense side, a team who did the opposite. They went for the sleeper picks out of challenges and have come up already with good results here in the kickoff. Zeppa, the one to watch after the game against NRG. Lights out across both of those maps. Almost gets his lights knocked out there by that fault line, but they'll be ready to push on out here. TP out straight away there, looked a little bit dangerous for Valyn.
That wall will go up just to obscure the view, but Trent backing up, caught before he could round the corner. All of C9 gathered up, ready to explode through tree. G2 on the rotate. Do they want to try to take the fight to them, though?
They're battered net pretty low. Zeppa and Mitch, not so much. They're able to get in and make this fight, but net, yep, just going to be that anchor player. Didn't have a lot of help to work with while the rest of C9 get up and in onto that A site.
I like this. They're trying to flip the site, take control of Heaven. Valyn is ready for this, though, with the paranoia on standby. Not a moment to send it just yet.
The barrier, though, is in stairs. G2 have limited options to get into the site. Nox, he's going to be forced back by that paranoia. Jorgamo stunned briefly. Now you got to go for it. Leaf and Jorgamo looking to group up here. Here comes the Teo Util in. It's going to be back and forth. Leaf's able to get in there, though. Vic trying to play around this one way to some degree. Leaf's already on the defuse. It's up to Vic here. Got to find a way through, but he's sticking it. Right clicks interrupt, but Professor P gets the job done.
Oh, that was a cheeky little attempt from Vic. Played to the smallest win con he could, which was getting into the smoke itself, denying the plant. Good effort. Those waves of utility, the barrage from both teams, multiple Tejos again. This agent has defined this first week of kickoff. When you get the breach in the mix with him as well, it's so oppressive. Trying to get out into that rubble area against that initiator duo is such a nightmare. But C9 paced themselves around it nicely. We're able to get into tree and get off that nice clean execute.
And that deadlock util in the post plants makes it tough for G2 to retake Wyatt. We'll see if G2 allow them so deep into these sites and execute again.
So you can see as an example here, the Omen, it is standard to take that teleport, get over back rubble. That's what Vic does. And you can outpace the salvos that come in from the defensive Tejo doing so. You know, same if you want to have your raise satchel out there.
Ooh, okay. Jorgamo, zero connection on either of those outlaw shots.
Now, the rarest of whiffs from the Dogamo.
And now the smoke comes up, so Jorg has to play inside the site alongside Trent, who pulls back from tree, but C9 diving over towards the B side of the map. There is a snake bite on the ground, but one player snuck through.
Yeah, still shouldn't be too much danger. Leaf.
He knows. I think he spots Mitch's shoulder there, but it's going to be forced back. Fault line, it misses! He steps to the left and he's able to take Mitch down. Valyn there has to be the next line of defense, and heads are sheared clean off. Wow, G2 waste no time in regaining control.
They allowed C9 to essentially go where they please, ready to pounce on them at a moment's notice with that superior weaponry. Handled that anti-eco perfectly, retaining all of the bonus rounds, or weapons rather, into the bonus round. Looking good so far. Strong start for a team that people are looking at to be the best here in Americas.
The last official that G2 played was actually against Cloud9 at Red Bull home ground, off-season event. They got absolutely dominated.
Lost 0-2, only got 9 rounds in that game. First match of the season, immediate chance for some revenge.
It's a different C9 roster than what we had then. That was the Rossi look.
The hotly debated Rossi look into this new iteration that immediately off the jump just beat the bad roster move allegations, at least up until this point.
Cloud9 here. Pretty slow about moving on out, but clearing these close corners as if they want to start hitting A little faster. That toxic screen, though, is going to allow G2 to play out from Hobbit.
Again, you can see the defenders, G2, just gathering up, ready to explode onto C9 when they try and press forward in one of those transitional moments. A barrage of utils to come in, but now rotating away is that Tejo. Trent trying to meet up with Jaw on site, who's still got that outlaw. Couldn't connect the shot on the prior round, and will have to connect 2 to kill anyone on C9. They've all got the heavy arms.
Yes. In the head, buddy. There it is, Oxy down to 10. Mitch able to deal with Trent at the very least, and Net wants to go towards Baby Door. What a catch! Off of his own Grav Net wide. That is huge. Jorgamo and Valyn now have to put it together. The latter is a long way away, but Jorg takes a swing, takes a shot, and Vic is cleaned up, but man, he needs help. And the Mastermind is too far away.
Unfortunately, it takes 3 millennia to reload the outlaw. You have to be far, far away.
A literal ice age. Net here. There's no hurry. Yep, Valyn picks him up, and Net's been playing that position in the post plant constantly.
All of a sudden, we've got some real danger, and danger aside, the economic damage already dealt from G2 is
pretty good.
More than enough to be happy to walk away with if Valyn just goes down here.
Denying 3 guns from Cloud9 on a bonus round at G2. Valyn, if he can get just a little more, he'll be grinning.
Good luck, though, against the breach Tejo trying to defuse a spike with the clock ticking.
There is a TP here for Valyn, but won't be able to reposition now that Tejo Util going to come in, and Valyn hasn't left himself enough time. He'll be walking away from this one here as Cloud9 get themselves on the board with this buy, but only have 2 rifles to show for it.
G2 will be content with that. They carry the Phantom over into the next round as well. What a play here from Net. Beautiful transfer onto the second leaf, trying to get the trade, but
Really living up to his name there.
it really is. Net has been a fascinating player to watch over the last couple of years. Obviously, one of the big stories coming into this game, his return to VCT Americas is an opportunity for vengeance against his old squad that replaced him in 2024. He had to fight his way through challengers to prove himself to get back here. He's been looking so good as of late.
And it's a fast push up here for Oxy now as G2 start to converge on B with 3 players. 1-3-1, look for the defenders now as Oxy. He's hit with a concuss. He's going to take some damage here and walk out into the open. Just beg for his frag to be taken, and Trent finds the other.
Oh, Mitch wanted to trade that out, but G2 had a few rifles trained on that choke point. I mean, even if Mitch got one, he was going to go down as well. Advantage extended for G2.
What a disastrous start to the round. Net throws down the grab net. Gets in onto that seaside elite. He's going to be forced away here. He lacks backup right now, and Waterfall smoked off.
Happy to just retreat his Leaf. Wow, C9, they want to push
fighting
more.
this?
They want to take this duel.
Okay, well, Leaf says, I'll have one, thank you. Yes, perhaps the wall now. That's cleared also pretty easy now. There's a chance here for G2. Net trying to push up now. Trent finds his third of the round. Zeppa sat back on the site. Get ready for a spray, but Valyn puts it to bed. And already G2 starting to emerge as a very confident contender here on Lotus.
That is clinical. The Breach and the Teho combining the utility for that free first kill, punishing Mitch, who just wanted to trade things back desperately. They play it safe, play to the man advantage retake. Those are the kind of situations where you can expect G2 to really always close things out. In terms of the fundamentals, they are one of the best teams in the world.
Nice, boys.
Jorgamo with 3 frags to his name already. First casualty in that previous round, but he's definitely the blunt object here for G2. Pretty classy finish there by, I guess, the rest of them. Valyn looked good. I'm going to say, you know, there's a lot of talk about how Jorg is maybe coming down in pace a little bit, G2 coming up in pace to meet him. It actually doesn't feel like they're a perfect fit for each other, but rather 2 teams that value, or 2 entities that value each other enough to meet in the middle.
It certainly felt that way watching them in the off-season. Things were certainly awkward at times. They played a lot of tournaments, didn't have a lot of success compared to some of the other teams in Americas, but have had a lot of time to iron things out. And Josh RT in the interview before the game said that he feels this addition, aside from just the firepower that Jorgamo brings, makes them a more dynamic unit that they can adjust the pace with a fearless duelist like him a part of the team now.
But someone who sets the pace as opposed to maybe someone who falls in line might have been exactly what G2 needed. Gives them the incentive to break out of the sort of confines they put themselves in by being such a structured team.
Valyn said he could be the X factor. This G2 team, they were making deep runs internationally before, and if he is that X factor, it could just take them over the top. We'll have to see though. This is a strong Cloud9 team. They have to best in their first match to make it into the upper semis. That has the Annihilation ready to go on this round. It is going to be an eco, but perhaps that could turn the tide.
Looking like a war zone out there with his Teho util already thrown down. Oxy commits over Rubble already with a Stinger. He needs to close the gap, and it might be another blast pack that gets him there, but it's been a quiet outing for him so far. And that stealth drone's going to spot him out. It's just too easy for Jaw.
The rest of the Cloud9 team, they've retreated. They're trying to pivot over to this C site where Valyn is taking contact. And he knows that he can just fall back, play this safe, allow Cloud9 to come in and again just play for this man advantage retake if necessary, and that will be the case.
Dimensional Drift earned by Jorgamo as well after that first encounter of the round that puts Oxy out of commission. Once again, Valyn not overextending for this. This wall's easily clear with that smoke in the way, and here's Valyn, he gets his one. Jaw there, getting towards back halls now, and that's the wall cleared.
I do like that aggressive flash peek. C9 trying to find some kind of advantage.
He knows!
That's overextended.
Information there coming from Jorgamo. Jonah able to capitalize, and it's Trent from Waterfall. This is airtight stuff from G2. They'll put their 4th on the board.
It is fantastic. Might as well use this dimensional drift that Jaw has acquired pretty early in the half to just lock things up in a retake scenario.
And he tells Jonah straight away, someone is about to swing you in halls.
Absolutely. Got that free kill onto Net. Jonah getting close to the Rolling Thunder. Armageddon ready. This is an opportunity for G2 to begin snowballing the game. I mean, yeah, I think that, I'm not 100%, but did that drone only see him because it went up and just got outside of the dark cover? I think that might have been the case.
I didn't even see it get pinged on his point of view.
That is rough for Oxy.
Yeah, he's been neutralized a little bit here. I mean, Valyn is the kind of IGL that has said, I relish the opportunity to shut down star players. Puts them in trick room, you know, slows them right down.
And we've seen for Cloud9 how important Oxy has been to their success, was the critical factor of them making playoffs last year. This breakout star trying to brute force into tree past the Viper wall will get control of the area. G2, they've rotated quickly to defend this.
The rolling thunder going to come in, but the Annihilation is going to slow, well, you'd think, Cloud9 up. Instead, they're going to go for it anyway. Concuss does connect onto Mitch, but it's still all systems go for C9, and there's Oxy fighting his double. Mitch folds away, knows Valyn has no choice but to take this fight, and it's an easy pickup, although Vic somehow on the periphery was down. Jonah P finds his, and now Leaf has to fight in against Oxy and Mitch in the post plant.
Oh, that was some great movement to get the kill on Zeppa, his longtime old teammate. But now, 1 versus 2, Oxy and Mitch trying to set up a crossfire. Leaf creeping upstairs, going for the flank at some point here. Oxy needs to be aware. So
this
much
has got to
time is
give
ticking.
Oxy knows. He has that awareness, but I think Leaf has managed to avoid detection. They're never going to check pit. Here's Leaf. One. Leaf! Masterminds! The Cloud9 in utter shambles. That's not a round you can afford to lose, and not like that.
He has completely worked them. Cloud9 confused out in the open. Could have repositioned to a safer location together. Have to be frustrated that they didn't get into tree.
Oh,
years Leaf played with Cloud9.
Just the trigger discipline to look for the second player, Wyatt.
That is lovely stuff. A little confused as to why he spotted them both out there, to be honest.
Makes it look like it was obvious, but Homie literally went upstairs all the way through up and down into tree. The most circuitous route for the retake possible.
Looks like C9 hitting the gas showstopper quickly, but denied by the Molotov on the ground. Oxy can't get past.
And he doesn't want to commit further to try and guarantee a hit off that showstopper. Fair enough. Rolling Thunder here makes things awkward for C9, and Giacomo found Zeppa. Digs him out on the A side of the map. Now narrowing options down for C9. They have to re-clear that area.
Zeppa needs to begin heating up. That's a really winnable duel for him. It was a slow peak from Giacomo. He was silently walking. Zeppa torched NRG in Cloud9's debut. Really shut down those saying he should have been one of the casualties of C9's roster moves in the offseason. With that breakout performance in match 1, needs to step it up here. They need him to be in that kind of form.
But like he said, it could be anybody on C9. Any given day that steps up to that degree, but they could use a reprise of that performance from Zeppa right about now. Eyes towards B now. Cloud9 finally settling on their intended spike location. Oxy steps into a Trent. Okay, Trent cuts a bloody swat through Cloud9, and Net is able to salvage.
30 seconds left.
But it's a grim landscape that he looks upon now with the absence of his teammates, and Leaf will put him out of his misery.
This team is looking scary good right now. Cloud9's map pick looking like it's going up in smoke.
We're giggling. We're guffawing. I can tell.
Cloud9 are going to be sent straight back onto the eco via this hat trick of kills. Crosshair is just steady.
I mean, that was a conveyor belt of fresh meat, Wyatt. No two ways about it.
C9 did good work just prior in the round 2, baiting out some of those ultimates, safely escaping out of the B site, but ends in tragedy. Early a fight again.
And who is with him? Who is with him? The rest of C9 are forced back by the fault line. Oxy has no support there. And he's committed. He's stuck out there. He has to go for it. Another early round play goes up in smoke for the attackers.
Trying to pivot now back to Mounder. Cloud9. We've seen this story multiple rounds now, where they go for that early foray into A. They try to insert someone or find a pick, but it's really just resulted in loss of life. They pivot to C. G2 give the side up. They play for the man advantage. Retake, rinse and repeat.
Valyn can take his time here. He is flashed, forced back, but the Leaf is there. The second wave. steps up, deals with Vic, and now stands confidently in between both of these salvos. Surely you can't have another one. Zeppa might swing on this one. Net from the high ground, though, deals with it. Stinger's here. Remember, it's an awkward buy for C9. They've done well to at least get into the site, but still no plant.
That's the first time we've really seen G2 try to fight before the spike goes down. Dodgemo on the flank, gets a free one onto Zeppa. It's all in the hands of Net versus former team with no HP, no weaponry.
They're brimming with confidence, White. There's no need to wait for them to plant. No need to give the extra credits over to C9. They are being throttled in every metric. And Net just doesn't even see where his assailants are set up.
It is suffocating to play against this G2 squad. Dominant in the map control game. And utterly fantastic at the fundamental Valorant situations, trading off of each other in these retakes. Swinging for together at the proper times.
And this is
These guys are so good, man.
This is broadly considered an attack side of the map, but Cloud9 have been suffocated. They've never really been able to hit a site, get an easy plant, and the retakes have been sublime when that's happened.
We have Cloud9 with the full buy. Big ultimates to play with here to stop the bleeding. Leaf feeling the pressure from the fault line, going to drop the Viper's Pit, try and delay this C-side execute, allow some rotates to come through.
And he avoids all of it. Every one of those ultimates, yep. Okay, well, Leaf's going to sit inside the pit that wasn't able to be cleared by all of that util. There was someone caught inside that Annihilation at the very least. Looks like they were rescued though. Was it a clone? Was that a Yoru clone inside the Annihilation?
We'll need a replay on that from the point of view of the Annihilator. And
okay.
I would love to see what happened there. I could not tell through the mess of the pit and just seeing Leaf trying to dodge around everything that was happening.
I'm thinking Jorgamo might have boomed him into the next dimension. Well, we'll check back in on that.
And this time C9, they're back on the pivot to A. I like this util to re-clear Rubble, but they're flashed up, denied, and the guiding salvo forces them back out of the choke point.
The retake wall gets thrown up. Denies their vision, and Cloud9 now 34 seconds to work with. B is the only option they haven't tried yet. Net actually able to find some momentum. But Jonah P steps back up, sits him down. And now you've got no choice. Cloud9 had to throw themselves at this solution. And it's going to be Vic solo TPing forward. Jonah lazily takes him out. Now with 2 players left, this is Cloud9 in a position to try and plant, but time is short and Jaw. Yeah, he can't see the planter. Valyn, though, tries to make something happen from upper, but it's a solo endeavor.
This is must-win for C9. They can't give this round up. They can't afford to lose another.
Zeppa is low. Leaf knows he's up there, and he is starting to creep up on the site. Zeppa is holding a passive angle here, and he swings it! George just deals with him. Now Leaf can potentially try and work around the extremities of this poison orb. Someone give it a tickle, surely! And that's why it's called the can opener, not cannot.
They drop the orb, perfect timing, double face. This G2 team, I'm blown away so far. Everything that occurred in the offseason, the opposite is happening in VCT right now.
Oh, it is the clone!
Oh my god! Oh, crazy.
So not only does he take 3 kills, he just counters the deadlock ultimate entirely. Oh, Net goes fishing and comes up with an old boot. You hate to see it. Gotta be a pause here.
Second for Cloud9.
They have burnt through those all in the first half, and Imi knows he needs to get some attack side rounds on the board for these guys before they head into the break.
Historically, this map was leaning attacker-sided, though with it re-entering the pool, these new agents in. Not enough data to support that at the moment.
Right. But still this idea that the defenders, by and large, are spread relatively thin over 3 sites, right? It doesn't feel like G2 have suffered as a result of that. They always seem to be where they're needed.
It's been dominant map control from them towards A, and they end up typically being able to find a kill from it as well, routing C9 to another site where one player has pressed up, is holding an information angle, they give it up, they play for retake. This is textbook Valorant that they're playing, but it's perfect.
And for Imi, I'd say this is the kind of half that'll make you want to pull your hair out, but, well, that's not an issue.
Come on, man, they're already down 8-1.
It's been brutal.
You have to do them like that, they're already...
I mean, he looks pretty frustrated back there. We spent a lot of time talking to a very frustrated Imi last year as well, right? Just trying to get things on track for the C9 team. It's been a while since they've been at an international tournament, Wyatt. Many years, in fact.
All missiles away.
The
They're trying to get out into A, but again, it's G2 with this early control. The breach, the Taeho, it's just too strong on that area of the map. Wants to get the duel against Jaw, but he just can't win that. You can't beat Jaw right now.
All right, Leak gonna be leaked here briefly. Oxy, though, a little bit too late to capitalize on that, but still gets himself onto the side here. Once again, G2 not looking to interfere pre-plant. They're really giving a lot of space.
C9 want to find a pick. They want to even this 4v4. Dimensional Drift to get the information for the retakers.
Okay, Oxy, a little sharp. More of that. And Cloud9 will be smooth sailing with Jonah P. Chimes back in. Professor will book no nonsense. Jaw? Okay, just from the Dimensional Drift into a fault line. Not ideal. Mitch sets that up well. Now the Rolling Thunder. Just as Leaf was trying to make a push, so Vic's able to clean him up comfortably and find a second from the back of sight. It's up to Old Faithful, Old Reliable. Valyn will fall, and Vic comes alive for Cloud9.
Finally out of the timeout. They're able to win a round. Some proactivity, hitting that C site, fighting for halls together. Oxy getting a much-needed kill. He didn't need to do much against NRG the other day.
Bam.
But you are looking for this guy to be the star that we know he is. He was one of the best duelists of 2024. Outrageous stats for all of America's Stage 1, Stage 2. He's got to come to life.
Big fan of that util there from Mitch. Rolling Thunder gets at least 2 kills for Vic. He happily snaps them up. Now, though, this is not a round that will be supported by mass ultimates.
Wow, different from C9. They want to just contact out of here with the flash stop.
Okay, we get there. It's a little dicey, but we get there. 2 sprayed down there with the Phantom. Jonah's going to have to stand and fight here, but he went for the weapon switch. And Zep was able to catch him out.
Great refight from Cloud9. They just need to seal the deal, trade down effectively in the 3 versus 2. They can go tree into A safely.
Leaf already with a massive 1 versus 3 clutch earlier in this half.
Vic still has a paranoia. Could be a big piece of util to have one of his teammates swing off of, or he can proc that when the spike is tapped, flash up the person trying to defuse.
Jaw should be able to switch to a rifle. Yep, he's picked up a Phantom.
Time to jump.
Op really not where he wants to be in a fight like this. Now they're making all sorts of noise here with the paranoia. There's the clone, a lot of damage being put on C9 here. Jaw tries to swing it. Leaf is there. Oh my goodness, Leaf. There's more work to be done. Very classy little right click here, and he knows approximately where Zeppa is, but not exactly. It's the 2 teammates, brothers in arms from yesteryear, and Zeppa this time wins it out. Shorty gets him there.
Finally for Cloud9. It feels that they've stopped that bleeding. They're coming back into the game with some adjustments made late in the half, but at least they've made them right. They're getting a couple desperately needed rounds on the board, so they have a chance when they get to defense. This time, opting to contact, walk out of the smoke, rather than just fully rotating off due to those, the salvos coming in from the Taeho, the fault line from the breach. And then they go for the refight after that when G2 are fully committed. That was lovely from C9.
Yeah, I mean, Jonah P not ready for that at all, right? You see him actually switching to a flash at the time. Jaw this time happy to throw down, but of course, Cloud9 syncopate a little bit. They are going to walk up through this smoke still and clear that area with the aftershock.
Yeah, Salvo forces Jawjamo to retreat, take that teleport back to A, double up with Trent. That is a strong duo to anchor this site. Armageddon comes through to try to force them off. Out Trent is caught.
Oh, okay. I don't think he knew where to go. Flashed out, it's unclear either way. Jonah hit with that grab net. That's the 2nd time Net has pulled off that play, following up on his own grab net. And there's Oxy converting and doing what needs to be done. Perfect. Now we're cooking.
Perfect timing on that one-way. Net shutting down the rotators. And Cloud9 feeling the energy, the crowd getting behind them a bit as well as we get to the half, and now they've got a chance. That's enough rounds to make a run at it on defense.
Absolutely. Getting a good start in the 2nd half would be huge. And see how this played out. Okay. He was in the stealth drone. So it comes out of it and he's got nowhere to run. Nowhere to hide. It's just unfortunate stuff. Still, both teams getting a feel for how that Taeho util is supposed to work. There it is, folks. Halftime in this match between G2 and C9 is 4 rounds in it. We'll see you on the other side as Cloud9 switch up sides.
Rebel gives you wings.
Six consecutive rounds put together by G2 started to put the fear of God in Cloud9, but a very timely Emmy timeout there just before round 10 sees C9 get to 4 rounds in the half. It's, look, not amazing. They definitely were hoping for a little bit more, but still 4 rounds to work with. It's a staging ground to build off, and hopefully with a 1 pistol.
Certainly. They rallied back before the clock struck midnight. 3 rounds strung together in a row. Something we've seen a lot for C9 so far is Zeppa top of the board. Let's see if they can play even better on defense. They looked good against NRG the other day. They had a lot of cool trap plays with this deadlock and then using the damage from Tejo.
Both teams looking to make extensive use of Valorant's newest initiator. It's going to be Vic called upon here to be the contact player from the C side. And okay, Joe. Shoulder peek to confirm there is an Omen in the site. Paranoia is going to force Vic out entirely, though, so for relatively little cost, G2 is set up on C.
Yeah, time for a full retake situation. Fair bit of utility for Cloud9 to work with. There's a stealth drone for Zeppa. Vic has that Paranoia to try and get back in, and Mitch's fault line just cycled. Not a situation you see super often on a pistol round, but let's see if C9 have a protocol for this, if they've got that set retake ready.
Yeah, grab net there as well for net. Okay, there's a fault line, comes from both ways. In fact, 3 players from C9 stunned up, but G2 aren't in a position to capitalize, and here's the fight. Jorgamo with the right click on the site. Valyn doesn't want to fully commit. He knows he's a little out at sea. The rest of his team are sat on mound, and Valyn is going to be the sacrificial lamb to try and hold them up. He gets his, and now from long distance, and all this terrifying util, Cloud9 have got to fight through a literal avalanche of explosives.
Unfortunately, it is going to be so difficult for that retaking team on a pistol round where you have less HP inherently to wade through all of those explosives with all 5 players alive spamming at you while you're trying to defuse.
You can't tank those hits.
You just can't. The Tejo does far too much damage.
I loosen that pistol there for Cloud9 just as they started to build back into the game. That is going to hurt. Jorgamo wastes no time in adding an outlaw to his arsenal.
The defenders want to gamble for a full A fight, rushing down rubble, and Trent simply containing back towards spawn. Will fall back with the rest of the team who intend on going to a very vacant C site.
Yeah, cat's out of the bag now for Cloud9. Now they're just going to try and chase them down. Obviously a pretty long range. Leaf is the ghost player here, so definitely considered a little more expendable, despite the fact that he's been ranching Cloud9, 15-7 his scoreline. And we're all in the C side now. C9 looking for a retake here, maybe from B through Waterfall.
And that, they try to flip the site just a little bit. Can play from back halls. They know that all of Cloud9 were running through A, so they've taken some really excellent forward positioning.
Valyn can give this info. No one is wrapping up towards hall side, he says. Now, though, he might be smashing C's. Oh, my goodness. Okay, 2 for 1. Take that deal any day of the week. And now the Professor is also presiding over things. Hardly necessary, maybe extraneous, but still. Net now has very little to do outside of perish in the most honorable way possible. I personally recommend a 1-man charge.
Unless he gets a kill, it's a repeat of history from the first half. G2 take the pistol, and all 5 players survive on the anti-eco. putting them in prime position to close the door in C9's face and head over to Abyss, which is G2's map pick.
Oh man, there's just no one to follow up on that fault line, and Valyn was already getting out of there.
I think Oxy was supposed to be the follow-up.
Thank you, Trent, thank you.
That's what friends are for. Here we go, Cloud9. Might be their last chance with the economy on the line with a full buy.
Not set up to aggressively play into Rubble this time. Okay.
Just purely predictive that someone would be jiggling or holding C with the dark cover there.
Against a fully armored target. Actually, I think that was the half armor, half armor player. Either way, Vic. Those ones are tough to swallow.
Oh, Net wants to re-clear, but Leaf, keenly aware, doesn't forego the watchful eye on that angle.
Just want to remind people this is a bonus for G2, one in which they have 3 Bulldogs.
And one in which they're about to win. C9 make a miracle happen. C-site free once again. That's where G2 are headed.
And there's no one home. And they know that for a fact after Net had sort of pushed up off of that.
They're about to get 2 free upgrades as well, by the way.
And they've had the C-site for free 2 rounds in a row. This time now with a very undermanned C9 who, well, I think they're thinking about holding on to these weapons as long as they can.
They might just have to go for the save here.
Little 3-gunner.
Keep enough weapons that they're not just strictly playing for OT if they send it right now. G2, they can hunt. Leaf trying to do something with the Outlaw here. Oxy on the angle and a little bit too quick.
Doesn't cost him too much at the end. Cloud9 really, with 3 guns, have nowhere to go. And all they've really learned about what G2 are doing is, well, they're not fighting aggressively on Rubble yet. That's at least the conditioning that's been set. Cloud9 spending resources on that A side of the map early in the round, but just not been able to come up with anything just yet. And so, I'm sorry, 2 players walking into that Outlaw line, that is a tough one. Also, 2 rifles taken away. G2.
You have to feel at this point that C9 are rattled. 2 pistol round losses.
What timeout?
2 clean anti-ecos. Yeah, they had to expend them in the first half.
That's right. Imi just in wordless rage on the side of the glass case. Cannot interact with Cloud9 at this time.
They want to go for something aggressive towards that C side.
Net is glass cannon this round. No armor to speak of.
Dark cover goes down. Pressure from the Tejo. G2, they try to rush this through the smoke.
Okay, Vic's able to recover something. But that util has been very, very good from Jonah P. Fault line sets an easy kill up for Vic. Okay, Mitch not too bad finding 2 here. It's Zeppa and the armorless Net remaining in this 2 versus 2.
And Net who's trying to push for a bit of information. It looks like G2 are going to end up walking into Zeppa over on that C site.
It's unclear really if Zeppa's going to give them too much here. Can sort of go and scout this with the drone. Honestly, this is a ratty spot, Zeppa. That is extremely rodent-esque. He's getting out of it. Swinging on it. Oh, Jorg. Okay.
That timing.
Had his back turned. Yep, sometimes it's just meant to be. Zeppa again has to be the savior for Cloud9.
The worst of timings for Georgimo. Just adjusts his crosshair as Zeppa falls into the angle, collects 2. This double spray down from Mitch was crucial in the mid-round, though.
Just the fact that Zeppa could have sat in that corner, you know, and probably done it right. At least a one and done there. Gives up that position, looks out, and finds Jorgimo thinking of other things. We might actually see a fast play towards Rubble, so let's see if G2 have conditioned C9 enough against this.
Minor signs of life for C9 in the second half. Oxy going in fast, wants to play top. Rubble. Jorgimo getting that information with the dimensional drift, actually pivoting into B where the rest of the team will meet him.
Yeah, already flash pressure going to be there. Net going to force Net back. And immediately the judge goes to work, but Oxy with a spray down through is able to catch out the offender. Now it's going to fall apart for G2. It's just Leaf. Spike a long way away. He's playing from upper, still doable with those headshots. Leaf versus Vic. Old versus new. The mastermind versus the student. There it is from Vic. Your favorite player's favorite player closes out the round.
A man who's been dominating in the challenger scene for a long time. One who's not always been as hyped up by the community, I think, as he's been, maybe deserving of, but one that other pro players have definitely taken note of. Have mentioned him a lot as someone to keep your eye on. Yes! Finally able to play in Tier 1 with this Cloud9 team who've really taken a chance on some of these slept-on challengers players that have been really good but aren't putting up the star performances always that are driving attention from the community.
From Moist X Shopify to Cloud9, Vic has burst onto the scene this year.
We have this deep dark cover place that's currently being worked around by Leaf. Now tucked into the corner as the rest of his team press up towards A, playing off the wall. Jojimo is in deep. It's rare to see a Viper on this map nowadays, which is funny because it used to be a must pick.
Net. The lame laps. Brimming with confidence, pushes out of B, runs into a drone. Clowns on him a little bit. Jojimo hoping that flash is going to keep the stairs players at bay for a little bit. Clone is going to be hit. Jorg pushing ahead of so much of this util. He's got the site locked down, but all of Cloud9 able to pull up to upper.
You can just see by his pathing the disregard for his own life that Jojimo has, man. He is fearless.
Disregard for his own, but also his opponents. It's an easy pickup for him. No self-preservation mechanism ends up being his secret power. And that was an annihilation sent topside by G2. Trent lets it go. Valyn again, rock solid! He's third for the rounds. Now it's up to Nets. Try to unravel the chokehold that his old team has put him in.
He does have the annihilation if he can maybe find another kill.
Can't afford it.
No, he can't with just 200 credits in the bank. He's going to fall back. Too little time, especially considering the Taeho still living for G2 could play a mega passive angle and just send out the guided salvos to get an easy round win.
And this smarts. Why, this really hurts. Cloud9 after a very competitive, but ultimately successful series against NRG. Pick Lotus coming into this game, think, okay, let's continue to go to work on some of the biggest names in Americas. It's NRG into G2, that is serious business. But here, map point against them, and they've really struggled to stand out.
This G2 squad is delivering on the expectations that we had set for them coming into this year. It's been a great debut map, one more round to close it out and go to their pick Abyss. Cloud9,
they're up against the barrier
here. They want to fight them in the choke.
They're like kids in a candy store trying to get through onto this A side of the map. They want to brawl for it. There's a TP away. Jorg up on Ruffle, and Oxy is already in there. Valyn got taken down. That was the peak on the left side of Rubble. Jorg now has to think twice about going for this, and Oxy is deep. The cat amongst the pigeons. Don't mind if I do, he says. 9th frag of the game. More muted outing for Oxy, but come alive just now when he needs to.
They want to pivot towards C. Net is just jiggling, ready to throw the grab net in case they are walking in, but Leaf.
What about the dead
speed?
net?
Oh my god, the reaction on that is sick.
There's Jonah P. Vic is low, by the way. Just a strong wind to blow him over, and Jonah P. is a hurricane. We'll even up, though, in the post-plant. Leaf stepping forward on the side, getting ahead of the util. Oh, it's just too easy, baby. G2 really throw the gauntlet down on C9's map of choice. It's a 13-6 result. And G2 showed they were serious in the off-season. Went shopping for a world champion. Come back with a roster that looks terrifying.
That was an absolute dismantling of Cloud9 on their map pick. One we saw them beat NRG on just the other day. So far, so good for a team that has massive expectations. The roster that picked up that world champion Jojimo, strong first outing, but it was Leaf at the end of the day who really stepped up here for G2. Dominant on the Viper.
And a big part of the problem is only 4 attack rounds here for Cloud9, despite the pretty effective util usage from Mitch, of course, and getting a lot of value out of the Taeho of Zephyr, who had a great game in general. They just can't convert and get smothered across the map by G2. It feels like G2 always knew where to be.
I'm excited to see what G2 have on offer when we get to their map pick, Abyss, which is coming up next. They've only played it a couple times, and last we saw them, it was a loss to Lev champions. I'd like to see what their level is now.
We're going to step away for a moment, but when we return, our desk with GB are going to break down this first map of our last series of the week.
Okay, Team Secret, we need you guys on the stage now. Come on, let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go.